You've reiterated Jalen Hurts is your starter, but people even want to keep saying that there's a quarterback controversy. Bozeman put it best a
Who's
few
saying
minutes
that?
ago.
You're the only one saying that.
Well, Bozeman put it
Trying to
best.
create it
No,
right now.
no,
So
Bozeman put
no,
it
but
best
I've
saying that they
never
want
said
drama.
that. All right, so I don't know who's saying that.
Uh,
All right, so it's like me saying somebody said it's going to have a hurricane outside today.
Hey, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Opening line goes to a Nick Saban rant on the quarterback battle. There is none, right, Tony?
Yeah, right. Saban didn't seem too pleased when reporter speculated about there maybe being a quarterback battle, or just talk of a quarterback battle. Saban basically said, I think you're the one talking about it because I'm certainly not talking about it. He was very adamant that there is not a quarterback battle, that Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback, and that should be the end of the discussion.
Here's the rest of that clip, and then we'll get going on the podcast.
Is that right or wrong? It's just, I just said it. So that means I created something that makes everybody panic and creates news and go out there and get people excited and interested and afraid. Look, we have a lot of competition at a lot of positions, all right, and we're going to play the best players. I think our players respect that, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to develop every player on our team to be the best player they can be. All right, but we're not going to tolerate people making stuff up, all right, just to create interest, which I understand and respect. That's your job, but just not going to happen.
Coach, next question here, center left.
I was waiting for that one, man. That was like a hanging curveball.
Well, welcome everybody to the BamaInsider.com podcast, day 3 from Hoover, Alabama. Kyle Henderson alongside Tony Tsoukalis. Today at 9 a.m. this morning, Saban addressed the media and was open about previously injured players, and he started with Bo Scarborough and Sean Dion Hamilton.
Yeah, both players now have no restrictions, that they should be full go for fall camp, which is positive news for Alabama. Those are 2 starting players. Of course, you remember Sean Dion Hamilton tore his ACL in the SEC championship game, and then Bo suffered a fractured leg in the national championship game. They're definitely 2 players that Alabama is going to need to have next season. So it's very encouraging news for Alabama that they'll be available.
Here's that clip on Saban talking about his 2 players coming back.
Coach, how's the recovery of Bo Scarborough and Sean Dion Hamilton, and how does Najee Harris really fit into the offense?
Well, both players, Bo has done all the work all summer long, no restrictions. So, he's really fine. Najee's a young player who has a lot of talent and a lot of ability that we're anxious to help him continue to develop an understanding of the offense so that he can, make a contribution offensively at the running back position. Sean Dion Hamilton, who we held out of the spring, but has done everything all summer long. Seems to be getting along really, really well and should not have any restrictions going into fall camp.
We continue to move through SEC Media Day. It's Kyle Henderson alongside Tony Tsoukalis. Today, Saban also addressed thoughts on the domination of Alabama within the SEC.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. One reporter asked him, how do you stay at Alabama for 11 years? How do you maintain? And he said, win. He had a one-word answer. It was just win. Saban's the whole talk of this whole SEC Media Days has really been how do the rest of the SEC, how do they bridge that gap to Alabama, and how far away is that gap from Alabama? And really, I guess that's what we're going to see this season is how far away everyone is from Alabama. Nick Saban said that there's a lot of parity in the SEC this year, and that might be true, but I don't think that there's anybody right now at Alabama's level, and I guess we'll have to wait until the season starts to truly see that.
I want to play this right now of Saban talking about the domination of Alabama football.
We'll go over here to our left, about midway back.
Mike Bianchi, Orlando Sentinel. Coach, you guys have won 17 straight SEC games now. You've pretty much dominated the league over the last few years. How do you respond to those who say that your program is turning the SEC into a one-team league? And do you sense anybody getting closer to catching up with you guys?
Well, I have a tremendous amount of respect for a lot of teams in our league. I mean, LSU is very, very good.
Ole Miss has beaten us a couple times in the last few years. Mississippi State's got a good quarterback coming back. Arkansas's got a good quarterback coming back. A&M's always a very challenging team. I think, Kirby's done a great job at Georgia. Jim McElwain's done a good job at Florida. Tennessee has gotten better and better every year. I'm trying to think of somebody in our league that I don't have a tremendous amount of respect for. Vanderbilt went to a bowl game last year and had a winning season. So, I think there's a lot of parity in our league. I think it's very challenging from a consistency standpoint in our league. I think that we have one of the youngest teams that we've ever had. So it's going to be a real challenge for us to maintain the standard that we've been able to maintain in terms of, especially on defense, especially in the front seven, for all the good players that we lost. So I have a tremendous amount of respect, and I don't see us being any different than anybody else when it comes to the challenges of preparation and getting ready to play really good teams that we have a tremendous amount of respect for. And we're obviously going to find that out in the first game when we play Florida State in the Chick-fil-A preseason game and over in the Mercedes-Benz new stadium. We're looking forward to that challenge, but at the same time, there's a lot of really good football teams in college football, and we have a lot of guys on our team that have tremendous challenges to be able to replace some of the good players that we lost.
I thought it was interesting today. Saban talked about continuing to climb that mountain. And even if you've climbed that mountain, you got to continue to work for other goals. Saban's 65 years old. He just signed another contract. How long is Saban going to be at Alabama?
I don't know. He certainly doesn't seem like he's going to hang up the whistle anytime soon. I mean, would you be surprised if he went at it for another 7 years? I mean, to me, it just really wouldn't surprise me that much. He's in good health. He's, still got the fire. You haven't really seen him mellow out. So, I mean, yeah, he just had another rant today. I think he's still in mid-season form. So I think we got at least several more years of Saban.
Moving to another team question, it was brought up today, talking about the offensive line and really asking about the right guard and the right tackle position. He didn't necessarily give any names, but you're a team guy. Fill us in on the right side of the offensive line.
Yeah, I think Saban just kind of reiterated what he said from the spring, where he feels like he has 4 set offensive linemen that can play winning football, and then about 4 to 5 people that are going to be competing for that 5th spot. So, you got to think you got Jonah Williams at left tackle, Ross Pierce-Sprocker at left guard, Bradley Bozeman at center. And then you've got Lester Cotton maybe at right guard, maybe at right tackle. You got other people like Alex Leatherwood, Deontay Brown, Scott Lashley. There's a bunch of people that could kind of all compete for either that right tackle or that right guard spot. Matt Womack, I don't think I mentioned his name either. So it'll be interesting to see how that battle plays out. And I think Saban said that that's going to be something that's going to be determined in the fall. So it'll be interesting to kind of keep that bookmarked, I guess.
Thanks for listening to the BamaInsider.com podcast. My name is Kyle Henderson, along with Tony Sakalas. You can download or subscribe to any of our future or past podcasts by simply going into iTunes or Google Play and looking for the BamaInsider.com podcast. We've been bringing up a lot of content to you on BamaInsider.com, tons of coverage your way. We're really, leading to this first game of the season where Alabama takes on Florida State. It's going to be the biggest game in college football to open the season. Today, Saban talked about playing back-to-back ACC teams with playing Clemson and then starting out with Florida State. Here's that clip.
John Zeno with Associated Press. 2-part question. First off, you're playing 2 straight very, very good ACC teams in a row, which means you've probably seen a lot of others on film. What's your overall impression of the quality of athletes and teams in the ACC? And secondly, there's so much geographical overlap between the 2 leagues. How much do you recruit against ACC teams?
Well, we recruit against ACC almost, just all the time. I think everybody tries to recruit the best players. We all try to recruit the best players in the Southeast. And,
Florida State and Clemson are probably two of the leading teams in the ACC, and they both do an outstanding job of recruiting, and we end up recruiting a lot of the same players, so there's a lot of competition from that standpoint. I think those two teams that I mentioned probably represent and have dominated the ACC as a league for the last few years. I think they both have great coaches, great programs. They've had good quarterbacks, and they have a lot of good players. And I think that we obviously have played Clemson 2 years in a row in championship games, and we're kind of 1-1 against that group. And I think that Florida State has been one of their biggest challenges in their league, and probably have as many good players returning as anybody in college football. So we have a tremendous amount of respect for the league, and we played, the two top teams in that league, or will play, have played, and will play, and that's very challenging. And Florida State especially is built like an SEC team, like our teams. I think the Florida State is fast, explosive players, which they have a lot of, but they're also a big, physical, play great defense, tough, team. And I think it's probably Jimbo's experience in this league that sort of why he built his team that way, and that's certainly the kind of team that they have this year.
Tony, the stage is set. Alabama, Florida State, packed house, new Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. There's no way to downplay this game.
No, we just ran a story about how great that stadium is too. I mean, if you're going
It's
to
going
the
to be
game,
unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be in the press box, which I assume is going to be amazing. But after reading about what the fan experience is going to be like, my God, maybe we'll sit this one out and have one of the 1,000 beers they have there. You know what I mean? There's a lot to be excited about this game. New venue, great teams, two amazing teams too, and it's definitely going to be something to watch. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of information and a lot of storylines heading up to it in the future.
Saban mentioned that Florida State is built like a SEC team.
Yeah, I mean, they're somewhat similar to his team. They got a dual threat quarterback. They got a really good defense. They got a good All-American guy in the secondary, just like, Minka Fitzpatrick. The similarities are almost there between the two teams. Not completely. They've got different holes and key players, but I could definitely see that they're built like an SEC team. Saban mentioned that Florida State and Alabama recruit the same player, so it's not uncommon. It's not unreasonable to think that they would build a similar team to Alabama.
Here's what Minka Fitzpatrick had to say on Florida State.
We haven't looked at them a whole lot as a team, but we kind of been installing and doing small things like that as a team. But myself, I started a little bit after the spring game. I just started watching like certain cut-ups and stuff like that, watching the passes, first down, second down, third down, stuff like that, and just breaking it down. So I haven't been diving into it a whole lot, but I've been just looking at it, making sure it's fresh in my mind. They're a really good offense. They have a lot of people returning. Their quarterback, Francois, he's a real good athlete. Could get the ball down the field. Could get it. He could fit it in windows, and he's versatile. So he can run, make plays with his feet. And I feel like it's going to be a challenge for us, but it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Well, that's it for the BamaInsider.com podcast. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to future or past episodes by going into iTunes or Google Play and searching for the BamaInsider.com podcast. We'll be continuing to bring you more coverage from Hoover, Alabama from SEC Media Days. All of our coverage back on BamaInsider.com. Have a great night, and we'll catch up with you Thursday from Hoover, Alabama.